So Denzel Washington is eventually going to retire from acting. But he has a whole slate of things that he's going to do, which probably take him for the next 3 years or so. He has he has Othello on Broadway. That's coming out soon, very soon. He got another Antoine Fuqua movie coming out. He's working with Steve McQueen, the director who made 12 Years a Slave. And he's working on, and Ryan Coogler said he's going to write a role for Denzel for Black Panther 3. The thing that was missing in Black Panther 2 is what Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan did in Black Panther 1. And I didn't see Black Panther 2 because that spirit that those two guys had just wasn't there. And to be honest, Killmonger should have been the focus of Black Panther 2, but it couldn't. That wasn't going to happen because he was working on Creed. Michael B. Jordan was working on Creed with Jonathan Majors, so it couldn't have happened. And Jordan did pop up in a little bit in Black Panther 2, but it just, to me, it didn't feel the same, right? So the fact that Denzel's going to be in Black Panther 3 is fantastic. And I think Denzel also supposed to be in the next Doctor Strange movie. So we'll see on that. Denzel Washington, I had to say that we take him for granted, but I think we do. Like there will never be another black actor like him ever again. Just look at his filmography. In fact, look at his filmography from Glory to Training Day. And look at his filmography after Training Day. Like, look at all the films that Denzel Washington has done in between his 2 Oscars. After the first one and after the second one. He's up there with Pacino and De Niro and Jack Nicholson and Gene Hackman, Robert Duvall, Meryl Streep. Like, he's in that company. In fact, I think, like, in Pacino and De Niro still acting. Well, they just had babies, so I guess they still have to act. And Meryl Streep is still acting, and they're older than Denzel. So Denzel might be finished by the time he's 69 right now. So maybe by the time he's 75, we'll get the last Denzel Washington film. And at this point in his career, usually black actors his age in the past aren't leading men. Like when you look at Sidney Poitier, Sidney Poitier was still acting in the 90s, but he was third on the call sheet. He was like the third or fourth character. He wasn't like the lead or the secondary character. Denzel is either playing the lead or he's playing the secondary character. In Gladiator, he's the secondary character. In Othello on Broadway, he's the lead character. Right? Probably in Black Panther 3, he probably isn't the lead, but he's the secondary character. Like, these things didn't happen to like older black actors. After a while, you're playing the grandfather. You're playing the older guy with wisdom. But even like James Earl Jones. James Earl Jones was in a lot of films, but he wasn't the primary guy. He was the older guy who had a lot of wisdom. Well, Denzel's not doing it. Denzel is Denzel. I don't think we'll ever see a guy like this again. Even all those dudes that came through the 80s. Tom Cruise just put out a trailer for the next Mission Impossible movie. Tom Cruise has been making blockbuster hits since Risky Business. That's over 40 years ago. Tom Hanks, even though his movie here didn't do much at the box office, he's still pumping out movies. I started seeing Tom Hanks on Bosom Buddies like in 1980, 1981. Denzel Washington, he made the film Carbon Copy in like 1981. And he was on St. Elsewhere, what was it, 82, 83? He started on there. Think about how long ago Glory is. So it makes it brings up a good question. What are Denzel Washington's 5 best movies? Now, off the top of your head, you might say, well, that's pretty easy to answer, right? So off the top of my head, I might say Malcolm X, Glory, Training Day, Fences, and Equalizer. That's 5 films. Look at the films I forgot. Philadelphia, John Q, Man on Fire, Hurricane, Remember the Titans, No Better Blues. Like this dude's discography is endless. The Pelican Brief. He's made so many films. I don't know. Like I saw something today where they said there's some class teaching a class about Beyonce. And it's like, that's nice. What about some classes about Denzel Washington? You know what I mean? Multiple classes you can teach about Denzel Washington on multiple roles and multiple movies on multiple decades. This is ridiculous, his filmography. And when I started looking at younger actors, no, regardless of what race, like who's going to be in that next class with Denzel and Pacino and De Niro and Meryl Streep and Gene Hackman and Jack, where they just keep on working to the 70s. Leo DiCaprio comes to mind. But Leo, even as the years go along, he's making less and less films. And I don't know if Leo is going to be making films in the 70s. He still might be dating 25-year-olds in the 70s. Shout out to Leo. But he loves acting as well. Like Leonardo DiCaprio loves acting. And I do think you will see him for a long time. But I don't know if we're going to see him in his 70s. Tom Cruise, I think. Tom Cruise might. But Tom Cruise likes doing a lot of action stuff. Knowing him, he might try to do like an action film in his 70s. Like 75. Like he'll push himself at 70 years old to make some type of action film. He might hurt himself, but I think he'll try. But guys like Denzel is just, that's a dying breed. Like he loves acting. He's still doing Othello. I think he said he did Othello when he was 22, and now he's going to do Othello when he's 70. This man loves acting. I miss hearing it. I hear so much today about my brand, and I want to produce this project, and I want to do this thing over here. It's like, no, even though Denzel has produced some things and directed some things, he is an actor. That is his gift. However he found that gift when he was a teenage boy or a little boy, wherever thing he was in, that he found that he loved the word of Shakespeare, that he loved being on TV, and he loved being in movies. Wherever that thing that tapped into young Denzel is still with him at 69 years old. So I'm asking you this question. First of all, try to name your top 5 favorite Denzel Washington movies, which is virtually impossible, but give it a try. But what's your passion? Like, what is something that you would do way into your 70s? If you had a choice, maybe it's the career you have now. Maybe it was a career you had in the beginning that you really wanted to do, but you couldn't do it because, you got married or whatever. You had responsibilities, you had kids, so you couldn't do it. You fell into a job that worked and it paid well, which is great. But what did you really want to do? And maybe you can still do it in some form, but what career did you really want to do? What career would you wish you could have done into your 70s? Like what I'm doing now, I'm talking to you about Denzel Washington. I've been doing that since I was like 6 years old. I would watch like old Andy Griffith reruns, right? On Channel 43 in Cleveland. Now I'll be watching them because I'm a kid and there's nothing else on. So I'm watching it. And I like the Andy Griffith show was great. But then Don Knotts left and they brought in a different cop. And even at a young age, I was like, this show's different. That energy that Don Knotts had is gone. Even at a young age, I was critiquing TV shows. I was critiquing popular culture. I've always done this. It was always music, TV, and music, TV, and movies. And I was a big music guy. But I'm older now, so I don't have the same ear anymore. I haven't had the same musical ear for I think once the Migos came in, that's when my ear kind of said, you know what? I don't think I'm as connected as I used to be. Back when Nicki Minaj and Drake first popped up, I think that was like the last time my ear was like really good. And then once Migos popped up and then Cardi and Megan and all them, that's when my ear started to go away. But up until that point, like I was a music fiend. Now I still enjoy it. Like I know who the players are. I can tell you Sabrina Carpenter and Benson Boone, but I'm not as in depth. I can't tell you about their history and all that stuff and their songs. Like I can't do that anymore. I can just observe from afar. But I'm still doing this because I love popular culture. So what say you? Did you want to be a doctor? Do you want to be a nurse? Did you want to be a dancer? Did you want to be an actor? Did you want to be a rapper? Did you want to be an engineer? Did you want to be a mayor, city council person, president? Some of these things you can still try to do. If your thing was politics, you can still be a politician. If you always want to write a novel, you can still write a novel. If you was doing something where you say, oh man, I love reviewing classical music, you can do this. You can start a YouTube channel and start reviewing classical music. There's enough things you can do. The internet is so vast now. You can write, you can do a podcast. You can create wherever you want to create and just put it out to the world. You can write a book and it might be a bestseller. You never know. If you want to change the world as a politician, you can do that too. If there's local theater in your city, do local theater. Yeah, you might not be Ben Denzel, but you can be at Akron Denzel. So shout out to Denzel Washington, man. Yeah, inspiring us at 69 years old. Shout out to King Kong. He's that dude.